Hello, students. Today we are going to study the last topic in the fourth chapter. So far, in this chapter, we have studied all the details of Zeeman effect. In the introduction, we have seen how the Zeeman effect can be observed, that is, the experimental arrangement of Zeeman effect. Then we have seen what is actually normal Zeeman effect and anomalous Zeeman effect. And after that, we have studied the classical explanation and quantum mechanical explanation of Zeeman effect. And we also studied the Zeeman effect for one valence electron system. Now, in this last topic, we are going to study Stark effect. So, Stark effect is very similar to Zeeman effect. The only difference is that here the effect of electric field is studied. So, the action of electric field on the spectrum of hydrogen was first time discovered by Stark in 1930. So it is quite surprising that the Zeeman effect, it was discovered in 1896 and it took almost 17 years for discovery of this Stark effect, where the effect of electric field on spectral lines was studied. So this delay is because of the technical difficulty. So there was a practical difficulty in studying the effect of electric field on the spectral lines. So the difficulty was in using a kind of tube for observing the Stark effect. So the technology available at that time was a tube known as Geissler tube. So in order to observe the Stark effect for hydrogen, this Geissler tube was tried by many scientists, but the main difficulty was that the gas is comparatively good conductor in such a tube, and therefore it is quite difficult to maintain a strong electric field in such a tube. So this difficulty was overcome by Johannes Stark in 1913, and he was successful first time to observe the effect of electric field on the spectral lines of hydrogen, especially the Balmer series in hydrogen atom. So the kind of changes that Stark has made in the Geissler tube to overcome this difficulty, he had just placed an auxiliary electrode F close behind the cathode. So along with cathode and anode, he has used one more electrode, and that is a auxiliary electrode F, and which is just behind this cathode, and it is very close, of the order of few millimeters away from this particular cathode, and the cathode is perforated. So let us see the diagram of this particular apparatus that Stark has used for observing the effect of electric field on the spectral line of hydrogen. So this is a tube where the hydrogen gas discharge could take place, and one can observe these canal rays. So you know, canal rays, these are positively charged, so definitely they will move towards the cathode, and this cathode is kept at comparatively at the negative potential. So this particular canal rays, they are actually formed inside this particular tube, and when these rays, they pass through this perforated cathode, so you can see an auxiliary electrode F is kept, which is slightly few millimeters away from this cathode. So when these canal rays, they pass through this particular perforated cathode, and a very strong electric field is maintained between cathode and F by applying a very high potential here between cathode and F. So this electric field is of the order of several thousands of volt per centimeter. So this is a very strong electric field, and in this particular path, some of these particular positive ions, they may capture electron, and they will form atoms. When these atoms travel to this, they will emit a light, and these radiations, they can be observed from the spectrometer. This light, they can be observed from this spectrometer. And when Stark has observed this particular light for the hydrogen gas which is placed inside this particular tube, evacuated tube, so he has made certain observations. So let us see what are the main features of these observations made by Stark during his experiment. So he observed that all hydrogen lines form symmetrical patterns. That means a single line is splitted into number of components, and they are symmetrically placed from each other. So that means the difference is equal. The patterns depend on quantum number n of the terms. So the principal quantum number n is important here. Depending on n, this pattern has different structure. So the number of lines and the total width of the pattern increases with n. What he observed, that the number of lines and the width of the pattern increases with n. So as n increases, the number of lines that he observed in the pattern and the actual width of the pattern has increased. So thus the number of components, if you study the Balmer series, the number of components of H beta line is greater than H alpha. So serially, you know that H alpha is first line, H beta is second line, H gamma is third line. So what he observed, that the number of components of H beta line are greater than those of H alpha line, whereas the number of component of the third line, that is H gamma lines, is greater as compared to the H beta line, and so on. So that depends on the n value. Okay, so the wave number difference are integral multiples of unit which is proportional to the field strength F. So wave number difference, that means whatever the component for a particular line, for example H line or H alpha line or H beta line observed. So these components, they are symmetrically spaced from each other, but this particular spectral difference, if you measure in terms of wave number, then it is found that this difference in terms of a wave number, it is integral multiple of a unit which is proportional to the field strength F, and is same for all hydrogen lines. So the field strength is same, therefore they are equally spaced, therefore the differences are equal in all these particular cases. One more important observation Stark has made, that in a perpendicular direction to the electric field, he showed that the components are polarized in part parallel to the field. Field means electric field here, and these are named as pi components, and in part perpendicular to the field. So some of them are in a perpendicular direction to the electric field, polarized in a perpendicular direction to the electric field, and such components, they are called as sigma components. So these particular components you can divide into two groups: pi components which are polarized in part parallel to the field, and sigma components which are polarized in a direction perpendicular to the field. So these are the two components observed. Now one more important thing, that is depend upon the field, electric field applied. So what he observed, that up to the field of about 1 lakh volt per centimeter, the resolution increases is proportional to the field strength. So this is called as a linear Stark effect. So the resolution means the spectral difference between the two adjacent components. So that increases in proportion to the field strength. So as you increase the field strength, accordingly in a proportional manner, the resolution, that means spectral difference among the components, has increased. So this is a linear Stark effect. Now another kind of Stark effect that has been defined is when you apply the electric field which is greater than 1 lakh volt per centimeter. So in such cases, more complicated effects have been observed, and this Stark effect is named as the quadratic Stark effect. This is called as a quadratic Stark effect, and even higher order are observed along with linear Stark effect. So when you increase the electric field greater than 1 lakh volt, the effect quadratic Stark effect along with linear Stark effect is observed. Okay, now let us discuss about some importance of Stark effect. So the discovery of the effect contributed to development of quantum theory, because the quantum theory, different assumptions have been made regarding the structure of atom or the spectral uh, characteristics of different elements. So these theories have been tested on the background of this particular Stark effect, and different scientists, they have tried to explain the linear Stark effect or the quadratic Stark effect, and this helps to just test the quantum theories on the background of these practical observations made in Stark effect. So, first order perturbation effect. In quantum mechanics, perturbation theory is very important. So, you know that a small change in potential that can be approximated, different approximations can be made and the effect can be observed. So, that this is a simple mathematical tool, perturbation. So, first order perturbation effect for the Stark effect in hydrogen are in agreement with Bohr-Sommerfeld model. So earlier in the first chapter, we have studied Bohr-Sommerfeld model uh, of atomic structure. So whatever the observations or the assumptions made by Bohr-Sommerfeld, they were found correct for when the first order perturbation were applied to the Stark effect for hydrogen. But the higher order perturbation do not show such agreement with the Bohr-Sommerfeld model. Then one more thing is that the measurements of the Stark effect under high field strength confirm the correctness of quantum theory over the Bohr model. So whatever the quantum theory regarding the atomic structure and the spectra of the elements, so that was tested correct when the measurements, certain measurements are carried out for Stark effect under the high field strength. But Bohr model actually could not withstand to the observations made here in case of the Stark effect. So this Stark effect is responsible for pressure broadening, known as Stark broadening of spectral lines by charged particle. So it is not only a static phenomena just by applying the electric field, but certain presence of charged particle, whether they are in motion or at placed at certain point, so they also create a Stark effect, and that particular broadening is called as pressure broadening or Stark broadening. Now, when splitted, the lines appear in absorption. The effect is called as inverse Stark effect. So, Stark effect is not only observed for emission spectra, but it can be observed for absorption spectra also. It can be observed for absorption spectra also. So, earlier in first chapter, we have studied what is the difference between the emission spectra and absorption spectra. So, the Stark effect, when observed for the absorption spectra, it is called as the inverse Stark effect. In semiconductor heterostructures means the different layers of P or N type of semiconductors packed together to get a certain application. These are called as semiconductor heterostructures. So in case of semiconductor heterostructures, the Stark effect can be dramatically enhanced by bound excitons. So bound excitons, you know that these are the hole and electron pair. Okay, hole, you know that positively charged and electron negatively charged. So when you apply electric field, definitely they will be uh, try to be separated. That means distance between them will be increasing, and that cause certain performance of the semiconductor heterostructure. The quantum confined Stark effect is widely used for semiconductor based optical modulators. So these are certain applications. So optical modulator, the signal can be modulated, and particularly for optical fiber communication, you know that the signal can be transmitted over a very long distance in terms of a light, or by the means of the electromagnetic radiation in terms of light, and these signals can be modulated by semiconductor based optical modulators. So there also Stark effect is very important. So quantum confinement of the signal is possible here, and that can be explained on the basis of Stark effect. But the complexity of Stark effect is to us to such a level that it is not much useful for studying atomic spectra, but it is an important tool for studying the molecular rotational spectra. So instead of using it in study of atomic spectra of element, it is rather useful uh, for the study of molecular rotational spectrum.